First he's falling in slow motion, spinning, spiralling into the pool of reeds, clothes whipping against the unconscious man. Then smashing into the murky bottom, spluttering, and finally sinking to the floor of the canal, the last bubbles of life leaking from his mouth. As I always do, I woke up sweating. I can't help it. Almost every day I have to come and curl up on the bench by the canal. A bit like a punishment for what I did. It's quiet here, I can think. Dad's been banging on about making Hajj next year. I'm not sure about it. Why go to all that trouble when you could make your peace in West London? It started as a joke. He looked so dirty, like he hadn't washed for a year. He was waving his stick at us and muttering even before it started on him. "Loony, what a loony," chorused Gary and Robbie, rolling their eyes and popping their arms and legs in cruel imitation. All the other boats along the canal were covered in fresh paint and flower pots, but his was different. The Virginia was littered with rubbish and looked like it hadn't been cleaned for years. The name of it was only just visible. But still, how could someone live in it? Rubbish spilled out of the cabin uncontrollably, covering the deck with pots and pans and ripped plastic bags. The next time we visited the canal, we couldn't help ourselves from jumping onto the Virginia. As soon as we had jumped onto the boat, a horrible smell floated up from under the deck. It smelt of rubbish, old body odour, and rotting fruit. We held our noses tightly, quickly jumped back onto land, but too late. The old man had heard our footsteps when we jumped onto the deck. Suddenly he dived out from inside the boat, waving a stick at us and shouting. As we ran away, we heard him say, "Leave me alone, why can't you?" But we didn't. The following day we were back. Gary had the idea of untying the rusty old Virginia, and then see what happened when the mad old man comes rampaging out like a crazy bull, only because his stupid boat was adrift. Suddenly he was launching himself off deck of the boat to the damp pavement. Then he slipped and smashed his head and fell into the murky canal. You know the rest. He was dragged down by the weedy hands. Gary couldn't swim. Me and Robbie, well, he was twice the size of us, so we let him drown. No one had seen what had happened, so we legged it like a cheetah. "Listen," threatened Gary. "Don't tell. Never. Cross your heart. Do it." A few days later, a paper said as a headline, "War hero dead in canal." His name was Evelyn Levy. He saved lots of people's lives by rescuing them to Dunkirk. He risked his life for them. 7 years later, and still no one knows the truth. That's friendship for you. Tomorrow will be my last pilgrimage to the canal side because I'm getting a job in the army, as a big consequence for what I did. My dad's really proud. I'm scared silly.